Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lesser Known But Awesome Heroes. And today, I'm going to be talking about a character that, surprisingly, a lot of people are at least partly following with the New 52. A character whose book is actually crossovered with Alec Holland, aka Swamp Things, in the New 52. But a character that I still feel is kind of sadly overlooked and actually has some pretty cool powers. Plus, on top of that, he's alongside Buona Beast and Vixen, he is actually a character that follows the animal totem. And that character, as you can tell right here, is none other than Buddy Baker, also known as Animal Man. So, I got actually quite a lot of history for Buddy to cover, so let's get started, shall we? Now, Buddy was created by Dave Wood and Carmine Infantino. I'm always never good on pronunciations, but Infantino. And he first appeared in Strange Adventures issue 180 in September of 1965. Man, print was a little small there. And Buddy's powers, let me actually scroll down to this so I can make sure that I don't say anything that'll probably end up being inaccurate. There we go. Buddy can actually mimic the abilities of any animal as a result of his encounter with a crashed alien starship. Yes, believe it or not, Buddy's powers, to the animal totem at first were actually from a crashed alien spacecraft. He does this, however, on focusing on a specific animal that is near him, or as he would learn later, by drawing power from the animal kingdom in general. This enables him to even mimic animals that are extinct. The natures of these powers have been described in various ways, including the superficial alien radiation explanation in his early adventures, to the reconstruction of his body by aliens with morphographic graphs at a cellular level, and currently it is stated that he has mystical access to a mutagenic field created by all living creatures, also known as the Red. He does not grow wings to fly as a bird. Instead, he flies in the classic Superman style, nor does he form gills to breathe underwater when mimicking a fish. But he has occasionally been known to mimic the actual appearances of animals, such as adapting the claws of a wolverine temporarily, or a metamorphosis towards the end of Delano's run on his series. Among the animal powers that he has been seen being able to borrow and use is the strength of a T-Rex, the flight of a bird, the swimming ability of a fish, the speed of an ant, the reflexes of a fly, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but he had the abilities of a parrot at one point. I'll actually spell it out. Eloquence. The wall crawling ability of a spider, the sonic blast of a pistol shrimp. Okay. The sense of smell of a moth, the stench of a skunk, the color-changing abilities of a chameleon, the agility of a snake, the playfulness of a kitten, the electricity of an electric eel and electric ray, the worm's ability to regrow lost body parts, which I actually have the Grant Morrison Animal Man book, so I can vouch for that one, the righteous anger of a mother bear, the bark of a large dog, the reproductive abilities of a protozoa, the durability of a cockroach, the ability to fire lightning from his face from an unidentified alien creature, the beauty of a monarch butterfly, the smell of a hippopotamus, and the napping ability of a cat. The level of his abilities is perpetual to the size of the animal that they are drawn from. Hence, drawing the jumping ability from a flea would allow him to cover great distances. However, taking the abilities of a larger animal does not result in diminished power for him. In some appearances, he can even talk to animals and enter their minds. tapping into the red, he can fire blasts of force or unidentified energy. In cooperation with Vixen and the woman known as Tristess, he helped create an entire universe. And the New 52, he would actually gain an upgrade to the red to where he actually could start to physically mimic the appearances of animals and even take on their certain abilities. Well, actually, yeah, in the New 52, that's the way at least it was described to me. But in the regular book 52, he experiences an upgrade that allows him to connect to the universe's morphogenetic field, providing him unlimited access to all animals in the universe, regardless of origin. At first, he knew nothing about the alien creatures whose abilities he took, but he later had ample knowledge. And let's see, yeah. And the thing about Animal Man that certainly is kind of interesting. Certainly something that's interesting about Buddy is the fact that he is married. He is kind of a public superhero in a way. And he's actually been a member of the Justice League and the Forgotten Heroes. And the thing about Buddy that I think is certainly very interesting as well is the fact that he is a very big animal rights activist. He actually speaks out against cruelty for animals and, the poaching of animals and so on and so forth. What also makes Buddy, I think, very interesting as a character as well is the fact that he's a vegan. He's a full-on vegetarian. He does not eat meat whatsoever, which I find to be a very interesting character trait. But at the same time, it fits, it kind of fits with his animal rights activism. And his animal rights activism and his superheroics also kind of garner him in obscurity, even in the DC universe. So much so that he sometimes has barely enough money to honestly, put a roof over his kid's head, provide food for his family. Buddy is just one of those kind of I guess you could say the Spider-Man motif, and the fact that he almost has barely enough money to go on living, but he still does what he does, out of a moral righteousness. But let's see. I'm currently looking through here. And yeah, I don't see any other interesting facts that I can really throw you guys this way. Yeah. Frog in my throat there for a moment. Yeah, I don't see any more interesting fact, guys. And yeah. Okay, let's get into the biography stuff because I'm sure most of you want me to go into his origins already and get started. Alright, I'll do that. Now, he debuted in Strange Adventures issue 180 in 1965. Oh wait, no, sorry, that was publication history. Where the hell is the... Oh, there we go. I was reading the publication history there for a moment. There we go. Here's the actual biography. Okay, pre-crisis. Buddy Baker gained animal abilities when he encountered a spaceship which blew up, infusing him with radiation. He used these powers to fight crime and ward off alien attackers. He then joined the Forgotten Heroes group prior to the Crisis on Infinite Earths, where he was seen with the group during the crisis. So basically, Buddy for his first 20 years or so was really obscure. He was kind of a minor character that was just put in here and there. And would have one-shot story issues and what have you. However, guys, now I gotta scroll back because off-cam and whatnot and what have you, apparently I just did about 10-12 minutes worth of audio that I now have to go all the way back over, and I don't even remember half of what I said. So here we go with take number 2. Stupid Windows Movie Maker. Anyway, okay, Buddy's post-crisis origin would be slightly altered, but retain the essence of the original. While hunting as a teenager, he encounters a crashed alien spaceship which apparently imbued him with his abilities. The slight discrepancies between the two stories was addressed as pre-crisis and post-crisis origins, and was acknowledged in story, with the original Buddy Baker appearing and not wishing to be written out of existence. After an apparently unsuccessful stint as a superhero and following a hiatus where he utilized his powers as a film stuntman, Buddy would then decide to restart and make a career out of it after being inspired by the JLI, to which his own self-titled series would begin. When we meet Buddy, he is married to his high school sweetheart Ellen, who is a storyboard artist and later an illustrator for children's books, and they would have two kids, Cliff and Maxine, who are preteen and toddler, respectively, when the series begins. And they live in a suburban area of San Diego. Throughout the series, Buddy would become a man of great compassion towards all animals and would become a very strong animal rights activist, an environmentalist, and a vegan. Later, he would find his link to the infield has been passed on to his daughter Maxine, who's shown the ability to actually connect to the animal kingdom. Although he wears a mask, Buddy really goes to no great lengths to conceal his identity, and a jacket would be added to his costume so that he could have pockets and a place to put his keys, and also apparently notes from his wife to go get milk, eggs, or whatever after he saved the world. However, this jacket was denim and not a leather one, and Buddy specifically addresses this, that he will not wear leather out of moral considerations. And an early aspect of his character was the desire to want to be famous, and his wish was to be on the Justice League. However, though, Buddy was driven by this desire from the publicity of interviews and public appearances, he would then join the newly formed Justice League Europe and would bond with Dimitri of the Rocket Reds over their shared experience of being fathers. However, he would resign due to tragic events that took place in his own series. And after a brief period of reconditioning and exploration of his limits and abilities, Buddy's first job would be from Star Labs, who wanted him to investigate a break-in at an animal testing facility. He would then trace it to another Animal Kingdom-based character, which was Buona Beast, who he was able to befriend and aid. The conditions he witnessed in the testing labs compelled him even more to become a vegan, which was a sudden decision that put him at odds with his family. And he would also become an even bigger animal rights activist and would go on several missions within his own subtitle series that had many, many different strong environmental themes. And during a lot of his other adventures, he would start to experience glitches with his powers, and he would begin experiencing evidences of his existence within a comic book. Oh yay, we're going to get into the fourth wall stuff. Although he does not immediately understand them for what they are, he is targeted for murder by a mysterious Illuminati-esque organization that is upset with his environmental work, and must face the new Mirror Master. And on top of that, Baker was being pursued by Dr. James Highwater, who was a psychologist with no memory of any prior existence, and seemingly no other purpose than to contact Baker. A parallel story would involve a pair of yellow aliens described as agents of some unspecified higher power that had engineered the spaceship wreck, there we go, that gave Buddy his powers, who are aware of the events of the crisis and are monitoring his actions very closely. They are also aware of a secondary crisis that is coming, and they believe that Buddy will be the key to preventing this said second crisis. And they recounsel the two versions of Animal Man's origin through an unexplained surgery, which also extends his powers. However, elsewhere in Arkham Asylum, Psycho Pirate, aware of continuity and his fictional background, would actually open up a gateway into the real world and other comic book realities, and would start bringing several obscure characters and characters that were no longer in continuity into existence, thus causing a paradox. And Buddy would be demoralized, however, when firefighters are injured in a laboratory fire or blaze that was started by activists he was working with. He is approached by Highwater just as he decides to give up his costumed identity. While away on an Odyssey and Vision quest with Highwater, in which he would learn the true nature of his powers and briefly see the comic's reader, Baker's family would be brutally murdered by an assassin sent by the corporate heads who were trying to stop his environmental work, and with the help of Mirror Master, who turned down the hit, Baker would track down the businessmen and assassin and kill them all. While trying to undo his family's death with a time machine, he accidentally becomes warped through time and space and actually meets the Phantom Stranger, Jason Blood, and the Immortal Man in the 1960s. Take two. Who help him accept his grief. There we go. He is then contacted by the aliens and taken to Arkham, where he stops Psycho Pirate and prevents damage to the continuity. Baker is teleported into Limbo, where he encounters several comic book characters not being used in stories, and ultimately he would encounter his own writer, Grant Morrison at the time, and the two would share a deep philosophical conversation about the relationship between the creator and fictional characters whose lives they write. And it's after this encounter that Buddy is sent back home and his family is restored to life. However, it is left ambiguous as to whether or not Buddy actually remembers the full nature of these said events. And next, however, he would fall into a coma and he would find himself in a strange alternate reality, which he correctly deduced is a divergent phase of existence, and is then able to return home. Since leaving the Justice League, Buddy would resume his stunt work career. He also finds himself frequently displaying uncontrolled animalistic behavior. He is assaulted by a neighbor, Travis Cody, a burnout with a PhD in electric engineering from MIT. Cody has deduced that Baker's powers have become skewed, and that unfocused usage of his powers kills the animals. After reaching an understanding, the two work together to measure and enhance Buddy's abilities. They are themselves targeted by a group of shamans, one of whom was present at Animal Man's origins and was aware of the yellow aliens and the writer. During this time, Buddy's daughter Maxine starts to demonstrate powers similar to his own and is able to communicate with the head shaman, who was attempting to bring Baker to him. Star Labs again would contact Buddy and offer him a position as their spokesman on environmentalism, but he would decline. And after an accident in which Buddy would kill the entire population of the San Diego Zoo, his wife would actually take Maxine to live with her mother in Vermont to avoid the media attention, while meanwhile Buddy's son Cliff would run away, and Buddy would descend into depression. However, what is unknown to Buddy but known to us, the reader, or readers I should specify, is that Cliff ends up, with an uncle. However, that uncle ends up actually being a sexual predator, i.e. a pedophile. And Baker would then go to Vermont as well, where he finally meets the shaman. Meanwhile, Cody would be hired by Star Labs for his expertise, and while there he uncovered a conspiracy involving one of the shaman, but is mentally trapped in cyberspace before he can do anything. And Baker would continue to split his time between his family, his career as Animal Man, and regular stunt work for films. He occasionally lent his talents to various superhero groups, including the JLA, the Forgotten Heroes, and played a prominent role in Swamp Thing's task force, which was known as the Totems. Also, In the post-series, this marked the reappearance of Buddy in costume and heralded his return to the mainstream DC continuity. Although his Vertigo appearances were clearly meant to take place inside the DCU as well, he subsequently appeared alongside Aquaman, Hawkman, and Resurrection Man, and in Justice League of America issue 27 in March of 1999, Buddy officially would join the League to battle a rampaging Amazo in the Florida Everglades. However, since Amazo was able to mimic the powers of any and all members of the League, they were only able to defeat Amazo by disbanding the League. Buddy does not stay for the reorganization during a JLA crossover event. His expertise in the morphogenic field assists the League. He would also make an appearance in the Identity Crisis limited series, helping to search for the murderer of Sue Dibney, Elongated Man's wife. After encountering danger signs from the animal world, he would then be recruited by Donna Troy as part of a team journeying to New Kronos to stop the Infinite Crisis. Mirroring his role on Crisis on Infinite Earths, in which he journeyed into space with the Forgotten Heroes on Brainiac's ship, during this adventure, he formed a mentoring friendship with the third Firestorm, Jason Rusch. Also, due to a malfunction of the Zeta Beam in which Adam Strange deployed to return the team to Earth, Animal Man, alongside many other heroes, would go missing after Infinite Crisis. Eventually, some of the heroes are recovered, but Adam Strange, Buddy, and Starfire are still missing. They become core cast members of DC's weekly series 52. In 52, Buddy, Starfire, and Adam Strange are stranded on an alien planet. The trio do escape but are pursued by bounty hunters. They are then joined by the Man, Lobo, in issue 36. And it was during a battle against Lady Styx and her horde that Animal Man is killed by a neurotoxin, which causes its victims to rise again in the surface of Lady Styx. Animal Man makes Starfire promise not to let him come back as a zombie. He gestures to the reader, saying, "Look, they're cheering us on. I told you the universe likes me." At the moment of his death, Ellen, still on Earth, senses his death and begins to cry. And in issue 37, moments after Starfire and Adam Strange leave Buddy in space, Buddy comes back to life. The aliens who originally granted him his powers stand next to him, saying, "And so it begins. After plucking him out of the time stream and repairing his body, they leave him in outer space. He must reach out to another life form in order to survive, and claims the abilities of a group of Sun Eaters, including their homing sense. He observes his wife from a wormhole in space provided by the aliens, only to discover that Ellen is seeing another man, though it is later revealed she only reluctantly went out with one of Buddy's friends. However, when Buddy returns to Earth describing the marvels of space to his delighted family, Ellen throws a party to celebrate his return, but some followers of Lady Styx appear, hell-bent on killing the family. They are eliminated by Starfire, who has only partially recovered from wounds suffered in space. She delivers Buddy's jacket and faints from weakness and surprise when she sees him alive, leaving the family to care for her. Countdown to adventure. Animal Man joins Adam Strange, Knew I was going to do that. And Starfire in the series called Countdown to Adventure, written by Adam Beechin. The first issue reveals that his family has been caring for Starfire, who still has not regained her powers. Buddy convinces Ellen to let Starfire stay and act as a nanny to her two children. When a strange form of madness infects the people of San Diego, he and Starfire team up to stop it. Buddy's closeness to Starfire disgruntles Ellen, thinking that Buddy has fallen in love with her. Buddy's powers would be had been in a state of flux at this time, sometimes not working at all, and manifesting strange abilities all on their own, such as creating a whirlwind, firing energy beams. And once their extraterrestrial trip was done, Starfire would leave the Baker home, telling them that they would always be in her heart. And in Justice League of America, Volume 2, Issue 25... There we go. Buddy is then drawn into Vixen's animal totem and captured by the trickster god Anansi, who claims to be the one who gave Buddy his powers, having disguised himself as the aliens, whilst reminding Buddy and Vixen that he constantly lies. And he also mentions that Buddy's new powers were a side effect of his manipulation of Earth's morphogenic field. Cry for Justice. Buddy would appear in the second half of writer James Robinson's event miniseries Justice League Cry for Justice. While he and his family are entertaining Starfire and Donna Troy, Buddy is approached by Mikael Thomas and Kong Gorilla, who ask him for help in tracking down the supervillain Prometheus. He accompanies them to the Watchtower to seek help from the Justice League, and is present when Red Arrow is mauled by an unknown attacker. While searching for Red Arrow's assailant, Buddy is assaulted and brutally injured by Freddie Freeman, who ultimately turns out to be Prometheus in disguise. During the finale, he is seen helping Starfire and Firestorm race survivors after Star City is destroyed by Prometheus. And in the Blackest Night event, Necron would actually reveal that all those who have returned from the dead, such as Buddy, were allowed to do so in order to become his inside agents. A black power ring attaches itself to Buddy, canceling out his resurrection and transforming him into a Black Lantern. And in the final battle, he is freed by the power of white light. Following the events of Blackest Night, Buddy would help Starman and Kong Gorilla during their search for the Fountain of Youth, using his abilities to help translate for Rex the Wonder Dog. Buddy is later revealed to be a member of the JLA's reserve team, and joins the League during their battle against Eclipso. Shortly after the battle, however, Buddy and his teammates are possessed by Eclipso, and the reserve Justice League members are all freed when he is defeated. And he was in Titans Tomorrow, The Last Days of Animal Man, which was a May 2009 miniseries. He was in Flashpoint, and that's really about it. Buddy. So all in all, Buddy has actually had quite a little bit of history, as you can tell there. Not bad for an animal rights activist and superhero. And I gotta say, Buddy Baker, probably one of the most obscure and underrated characters. I mean, this guy can tap into the entire animal kingdom, and even throughout the whole entire galaxy if he really put his mind to it. And plus, he's an interesting character overall with all the different traits that I named at the beginning of this video. So with that, guys, this has been Animal Man's Lesser Known, and as always, stay tuned for the next one.